Hello, everybody, and welcome back to week number 9 of stage 3 of the Quake Pro League, where up next we have a super good match, for lack of a better term. You know what it's going to be, vengerurR versus Raisy. How can it be bad? Results-wise, though, it's always hard to kind of predict at this level because everyone is just so good, right? vengerurR and Raisy, very much kind of like standout players, especially like right now. Raisy has this legacy of being a top-level Quake Champions player at pretty much every single turn. And vengerurR really kind of embodies that young blood, right? That crazy just talent pool.
Yeah, and they're both at the cusp still. It's been a while, but they're still both. Raising to me almost feels in a little way about how Evil kind of did back in Quake Live for a couple of years, where he was consistently getting top 3 and just couldn't push through, and then all of a sudden just dominated everyone. And his style was super aggressive. He always catching people off guard with incredible aim, and Raising very similar in that light. vengerurR, I still feel has a lot to mature, which is scary because he's already incredible, but there's just areas of his duel I think he can work on, but still steadily improves, and I think is in desperate need of a land victory.
But he gets closer and closer, right? I think breaking into the top 4 was a huge deal for him, but I know he's disappointed. He's always looking for, even though, is at such a young age. And in regards to Quake, Quake, one of the oldest competitive video games going. In a lot of regards, there doesn't get more legacy than Quake. For vengerurR to be such a kind of young blood in that respect and be so close to success and be this hungry already it's both inspiring and terrifying, I think, depending on how you look at it. So we have the
Yeah.
picks and bans. Corrupted Keep is going to be the first pick by Raisy. Makes total sense. It's always been one of his absolute strongest maps. Blood Covenant is the next pick, and then we have the Veil of Nath. Now, I'm looking at the picks and bans. I'm curious because, again, Raisy has been able to sneak in the clutch.
It's interesting. I don't think, having spoken to Vera, I don't think he fears it, and it's always interesting when points don't matter to allow something through from a strategical point of view just to try it out. I'm just glad we get to watch it. But
Yeah.
I don't think vengerurR fears it. And remember that these two obviously have practiced together more than anyone, so he will know the ins and outs and weaknesses and strengths as much as anything.
Which also, and part of me feels like that's why we've actually seen the Athena pick there as well, because if you're able to kind of put that lid on clutch, and we've seen it from Raisy in the past, it has been an entire air of being in those positions to constantly pepper down rails, or at least having the speed to beat clutch to a key location where maybe you can beat him to heavy or mega or whatever it might be. And Athena kind of ticks a lot of those boxes.
Yeah, we
But that's
saw
one
Rafa do
map
it.
away.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
saw Rafa do it on land, didn't we? Where he used the Athena in fight just to disrupt the clutch's movement patterns and to get into positions what the clutch couldn't do, and the verticality and all of that lot. So it's definitely a somewhat of a troublesome champion against clutch.
Well, we're loading into Corrupted Keep. We should be moments away from getting started. This one's going to be the Strog versus the Doomslayer, which always has me interested. But how to call this one? I guess it really is hard to say because just two training partners, two teammates. They have been for so long, and they're both so celebrated. May the best man win, as they say.
2-1 Raisy.
Yeah, it's by pure results. It's fair, I think, to assume that Raisy has like the smaller edge, but I think it's quite close between them. But I feel like if it's a game of comfort, I think both players are extremely comfortable.
Yeah, this is one of these matches where you could just turn the sound off and just watch because it is such high skill. But nevertheless, we have to talk over it.
Someone's got to do it. But I think in this position, it's a bit of a that was a bit of a fight towards LG. But in vengerur's position, yeah, he's going to get some of that opening damage on the rocket. But the stack difference 100% belongs to vengerurR in this position.
Yeah, he's done a great job so far, just peppering down that mid-range damage onto Raisy, completely unreturned, I might add, as well, as Raisy had done no damage prior to that.
Ooh, hello!
He's done that a lot.
Yeah, that was one hell of a turnaround in that position. As we're now, pretty much right now, the heavy's going to appear as well. Raisy's going to wait for a split second, and vengerurR, this is one of those positions where you just need to show a lot of respect. He's going to pay a lot of attention to what he can hear. The push from this LG is already insane. Looks like Raisy should be pretty fair to chase this one down, and taking minimal damage on the way. He's going to score that first frag, and considering we're on Corrupted Keep, that was a pretty slow first frag.
Good rocket from vengerurR. It was indeed, but as you said, both players showing ultimate respect to one another.
Bit of an interesting peeker right there. Oh, a little bit of damage, but it's all about that fight towards Mega right now. vengerurR in a really nice position. Oh, and he had the LG ready to rock. Raisy, he's going to get him, but even with this heavy,
Yeah, Raisy knows he can push it.
he knows he can refrag. Ooh, surprisingly, he doesn't get any damage at all, though.
Tries to go for the pummel and fell off the ledge. Cheekiness comes back to bite him in the bum.
I think so. It's definitely a Raisy thing to happen, I think. Is that he's so... I mean, he made the right play. Like, he knew vengerurR was crazy weak. And even with the heavy in hand, he would have been fine. That rocket was fantastic. Oh my... 2 rockets and 200 damage is always a sight to see, especially with a champion as fast as strong and Pika. I'm loving the kind of aggressive back and forth between the two players right now, that they are so close to each other at all times. Both players kind of looking to consistently make chase with a rather even stack, if I do say so, at the moment. Thanks to the Mega, at least. But it's going to be vengerurR in a good position for this heavy all the same.
vengerurR's got a mighty stack, so Raisy needs to get back to either doing some damage at range or trying to capitalize upon these choke points, which he is doing right now. But vengerurR more than ready to set up for that. Good use to the Pikas so far as well. They've all done damage.
I'm loving the way vengerurR consistently plays without armor too. There's a lot of confidence coming from his decisions here, where he's always trying to kind of make his presence known.
Yeah, and this is the difference as I was speaking about earlier when we saw some of these players just walking around, not really having an objective, whereas vengerurR's playing with confidence. He understanding his opponent's movement, where he can be, even though he has no health and armor, he's still always making his presence felt.
Oh!
That time it didn't work.
Yeah, the Berserk, rare footage of a Berserk being used in duel. Entirely just trying to think, get that instant speed, but that weak, there's only so much. But this is a really good situation if you're in Raisy's boots, though, because there's just a rocket launcher in hand, and I mean, he got a respectable amount of damage, all things considered, but yeah, he just did not have the right weapons.
Also see is Raisy rotating all 4 armors, all 4 items, should I say, sorry?
5-minute warning.
Some good little tri-bolt. Unfortunately for vengerurR, it's one of the only things he has. He has got an SSG as well, but unlikely Raisy's going to just simply put himself in the range to make it useful.
You say that, but vengerurR did about 200 damage with the tribal. And this is one of the weaknesses I see with Raisy sometimes, is that when he gets into that rhythm of rotating 4 items, he then becomes ultra predictable in his movement. And vengerurR read that like a book, but nevertheless, off the spawn, somehow Raisy gets a frag back. Yeah,
that was vengerurR. He got caught swapping weapons a couple of times and essentially just distributing no damage. Just gave Raisy almost a free frag in effect because vengerurR just didn't fight back. And that's the kind of frag that unfortunately might come back to haunt you, but Raisy was incredibly confident he could jump down, but the second you put yourself airborne and there's an LG in play, it just becomes incredibly hard to push forward. Wonderful position in vengerurR's position now. Full control over both of these items, plenty of rocket ammo, close range fight that vengerurR surely cannot lose. Not with the stack that he was working on. Raisy's gonna.
Oh,
Ooh,
that
bee!
was so nice.
Perfectly timed too. Mega just got taken.
Use that as he was in midair, so knowing his body would end up in a safe position, but that it spawned in a place where Wenger couldn't kill it.
It's one of those optimizations of Strog that you don't actually see every day, but there's that kind of next level sense, I suppose. That sixth sense that players have at this level of play.
Exactly. And Raisy is always the one about optimizing things as well.
It's a scientist, 100%. But vengerurR is the one sitting on a lead. Does finally see trouble. And yeah, he's playing that. You can see this immediate change of style now, though, why vengerurR went from being the one to constantly try and press the advantage to he now has a lead, and he's trying to be incredibly protective over it, while at the same time still trying to be in position to get some damage, right? He's not giving it up for free. Corrupted Keep is not the kind of map you can do that on. However, there's definitely a less chase sense going on, especially with Raisy's stack. He is very healthy.
Always being present at major items is such a key aspect of playing this map in particular. Can't ever let your opponent get a big stack advantage. So.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! That has to be one of the. That's got to be a top 3 kamikaze. It has to be.
Oh my god! It got bounced by the Pika.
And it was the height. How many times do we see a potential ring out on that ledge and it just doesn't quite happen? But what has it meant for Raisy? He has so much stack now. This is a scary position if you're in vengerur's boots. Because now, I mean, he had a lead. It's been stolen away from him. Now both players are going to be near Mega, but both players are actually quite early on it. Which meant there was inevitably a big fight taking place. vengerurR does not want to fight, and a lovely rocket jump to reposition on Heavy. And even with the movement of Strog. Oh, the running out of rockets! That one is a heartbreaker. Running out of rockets meaning that he cannot fight, and he had to give up his position, so Raisy runs in and steals away the Heavy. vengerurR was in the right position, but wrong ammo count. Ooh! Gets it. Just in time for Mega.
Crazy.
This
Out
has
of
been
position for half a second. Look at the damage that Wenger was able to do.
It is thoroughly insane how back and forth this one map has been, but I mean, I will be honest, could we expect anything less? Man, this is a scary position. vengerurR is nowhere near the stack. I don't want to map this small. Speed, all the way. Peak has been used. Immediately shut down. Raisy doesn't want to give an inch of himself available. 20 seconds. vengerurR just needs to play the defensive game. He needs to listen out as carefully as he can. Raisy sits around and gets the Heavy. Absolutely going to be the last major item before this map is finished. But can vengerurR run away? He hasn't got a lot of stack. Raisy's found him. 5 seconds. That defensive rocket might be it. Gives himself a rocket boost, and there we go.
Wow.
Well played.
Well played indeed. That was incredible. The fact that he was able to keep such a foothold on the map despite having the speed disadvantage that he did. When Raisy was able to get a couple of clean frags in a row, he consistently made sure he had a presence on the map despite Raisy's overall dominance on the items. That was a defensive masterclass.
And it was a combination of strong defensive play, but also a lot of confidence. And I know you pointed out in the middle of the map that I think that's really what set vengerurR apart today from a lot of players that we've seen, is just this idea of he knows he's kind of technically on the back foot, but as long as he's still putting himself in positions to kind of get that sneaky damage, to get that sneaky rocket or whatever it might be, you're not able to simply just bully him off a map. And
No, like, this is why it sounds a little bit harsh when we sometimes criticize or point out that players are not doing that, because it's really the true thing for me that separates an elite player from the best, is that they have this ability to just be present at all times. It's what's made Cypher so great, and what made Rafa so great. Like, it's the ingredient to make you great, and that's why it's the biggest step up for most players is the capability to do that on the defense. And Wenger seems to have mastered it.
And it's what makes vengerurR such a scary player because, we talk about the young talent, the fact that he's pretty much one of the absolute youngest Quake pros we have, especially in the Quake Pro League, But you said like the recipe for just becoming like this top level player is that he's got it already. And
well, I mean, to put it into context, I don't even think Raisy is that good at it. What Raisy is good at is finding opportunities on the defense to maximize damage and flip it in his favor. I don't see people like Raisy play this consistent defensive game for minutes on minutes. He wants to have a big battle, flip it on its head, trap you, whatever it is, and regain control. Whereas Wenger looks entirely comfortable, not in control. So he's comfortable being uncomfortable. That's the premise.
And it makes perfect sense, to be fair, especially when you put it like that. But I'm excited for map number 2 because it's Blood Covenant with Athena versus Clutch. We've seen Raisy's Clutch be, if we're going by an individual champion linked to a player, Raisy's Clutch has got to be like the most dominant force in Quake Pro League. That only a small handful of times has Raisy's Clutch been kind of like, the lid's been put on it. Because every other time, he makes even the best players in the world sometimes look easy with this pick, right? But against someone like vengerurR, who these two players are super familiar with each other, and clearly the champion has made it through the pick phase, so it wasn't taken away. I'm very curious to see what vengerur's plan and strategy is, because clearly he's got to be comfortable in this matchup. And I'm just honestly excited to see what happens. I think we can expect a really fun map here.
Yeah, me too. It's a replay of the matchup he lost to in the Poland in the final. So interested to see if vengerurR can live up to what Rafa showed us, and interested to see if Raisy has any recipe to counter.
Well, we are starting things off with an immediate display of what Raisy's Clutch is all about. Probably the most aggressive thing you will ever see.
Yeah. He wants to get in your face as quickly as possible. And he's very good at it as well.
Very easy to accidentally misplay as a Clutch, though. It's something Raisy will consistently say, that he loves Clutch because Clutch is truly this kind of like unique specimen that no other champion can play or do what Clutch can do. However, one mistake, one missed area of movement, and you are a sitting duck, the easiest champion in the game to hit shots against. And it looked a little bit like there was a fumbled movement piece there from Raisy that caused him to fall down near the pillars, and vengerurR punished him with almost a frag.
I really liked vengerur's positioning as well. He backed up into the corner to maximize the area he was able to chase down the Clutch in.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Misses the rail. Raisy either putting a lot of confidence in his rail or not being so sure what stack vengerurR was working with because he was near a light health bubble. And maybe even a light armor. It depends if he had the timing on it.
It was kind of also the point of no return for Raisy as a Clutch, because you would have taken so much damage. It would take you a lifetime to recruit your stack. You may as well just commit and do the high risk play.
Yeah. Speaking of high risk, Raisy, he drops down and goes for another one of those flick rails, doesn't hit its mark, but it's put vengerurR in a tricky position. And speaking of tricky position, how about point blank downstairs with a Clutch with that much health? Tricky business.
Optimization from Raisy, not picking up the bubbles because he was only 5 seconds from his next use of the shield.
Now it's a game of information for vengerurR. He has a rail, and we've seen a million times how important rail is versus Clutch. And Raisy going for a sideways movement. Some nice rails again coming out from vengerurR, and another one. Another one. You have to hit these shots against Clutch. He will destroy you otherwise, but vengerurR is rising to the occasion, absolutely. And some more damage. Yeah, there's that grappling hook. No free rail for you, sir. Oh, but that one still found its way through.
So I think the one thing people underestimate when playing Raisy's Clutch is he always preempts his aggression with rails. And he's actually done more damage with rail than anything else so far, just to show you in context. By far. He doesn't need to be a Clutch to do that. The only thing the Clutch does is get him in position faster.
Now, in vengerurR, we talk about playing when he's behind or out of control. He's having to do it again, but this is where things get a lot more scary because... Oh dear, Raisy's found him. However, he is taking a ton of damage.
Yeah.
vengerurR able to out-damage the shield. Yeah, I agree.
It was the right move, but the execution of his rockets was abysmal. And now he's going to give up a couple of frags for it. Oh, unnecessary to drop down there. He just ran out of the lightning gun, I guess, which, yeah, he did.
Yeah, he ran out of LG ammo, which is why he had to jump down and get some more. Also a bit of a sort of mouse shake there, you know, those moments of frustration where you shake your mouse. vengerurR definitely realizing that he had it, just ammo shortage. It cuts so deep when you run out of ammo. But they trade rail for a wonderful amount of LG, but vengerurR's weak and in danger. Aggression all day, every day. Because Raisy was just in a better position to get that mega and then just foot on the throttle, really. Oh, that rail hurt.
Yeah, he really did, but Raisy is incredibly weak as well, so he can't truly follow it up. But vengerurR desperately needs a mid-range weapon, either a lightning gun or a rail.
What's impressive thing about the way Raisy plays clutch is that you are a big target. And there's a huge emphasis on having to hit your shots because you become easy to rail, you're easy to LG. So if you're not hitting any shots at all, you'll never really be able to trade it. But Raisy's rail, even against these small targets, even at the speed he plays, manages to be nearly perfect. Raisy's execution is just so criminally strong.
Exactly. If he didn't hit half as many rails, he would not be playing clutch anywhere near as well as he is. Oh, that's fortunate to fall down there right into vengerurR. vengerurR this time does walk away and survives. Raisy's already got a good stack back.
Opening damage. vengerurR's going to need a lot more than that. There's just something so accurate about clutch in that position when he says, you have no power here, as he has a shield with more stack than you and more damage. How very canon. But vengerurR consistently... I mean, like, he's trying really hard to play this defensive game and look for these moments, but what Raisy's clutch does so perfectly is force those moments on you. You are never truly comfortable against this champion.
You can see what Raisy does really well is he goes through that low ground every time, so vengerurR has no rail angles as well. There's small things like that that make a big difference.
Go for the rail shot. vengerurR kind of really unable to hit any crucial shots either, which is kind of rare for vengerurR to miss that many shots against such a large target. It's just Raisy using very odd cover opportunities and even more damage. Just overwhelmed, I think, is the magic word for what we're seeing at the moment. And it's what Raisy's clutch does better than almost anyone in the world. When he has that ignition turned on, it's just insane. He's sitting in the health puddle to get a little bit more stack. It's going to allow vengerurR
how he's strafing in and out as well. I think that increases tick time. As opposed to just standing in it.
Oh, waiting for his moment. And he actually gets a chunk of damage. 79 for that rocket. Certainly not terrible. And there's plenty of light. Yeah, light health right there. Looking for mega position, but he needs to fight his way forward. Had the rail, but a little bit too reactionary. Loses the shield wall now in vengerurR.
Yeah, that's the position you might not want to do, pop the shield wall, but nevertheless.
The thing about these fights for me as well is likely to go down. vengerurR almost dies there. I wonder if I'm going to check it. Yeah, did he almost run out of ammo again?
He did run out of ammo, yeah.
Yeah, that would have been horrendous to run out of ammo twice in a row. In 2 opportunities, you had a free frag. Oh, gauntlet usage at that range. Oh, he hits a delicious rail. The fact that Raisy managed to turn that one around when he went in for... I mean, you do understand it, but there's somewhat of an arrogant gauntlet because it's like, oh, I know you're going to be there, 100%. And then when it wasn't, he capitalized. Oh, that's fine. I'll just hit these godlike rails. Who cares? Only Raisy could do that, but then recover in that way, I think.
Can't catch me now.
Uh-oh. No escape for vengerurR.
Nice.
Re-rail. And the pain train continues. As now Raisy going to keep his level of control established. That Mega. And once more, just looking for these rail angles. And you said it yourself, how often Raisy instigates aggression with the rail first? Because he just never misses the first shot.
He doesn't though, and that's exactly why it's so powerful. When you're going into your opponent who is well like a third of your health, if not less.
Oh. Gets the heavy machine gun down to a health you can't survive and then just rails to finish the job. That's just efficiency right there. And now he's going to force his way onto the heavy once more. Use that like air dash to escape trouble. Deny the lights. Starve vengerurR from anything possible.
That's wrong.
Yeah, this has been a clutch masterclass as Raisy so commonly likes to adopt. Shield to make it even safer. No way vengerur's going to survive. And let's just go in for the mining drill just to make it come back a bit quicker because there's hourglasses nearby. These rails have been immaculate from Raisy today. And we're very much in victory lap territory because this map was over like 3 minutes ago.
Oh, nice. Yep, but I mean, look at the state of affairs. The fact that Raisy's hit more rails against Athena than Athena's hit against Clutch. That's mind-blowing.
You look at the damage, of course it says that Athena's distributed more damage due to the natural stack difference, but it's how Raisy approaches it himself. Like, he makes it look easy, but it is not. It very much is not as easy as it looks. He makes this look like this unstoppable force. I know we've seen Raisy lose this exact matchup before, but there's just a way Raisy just is almost like the master of clutch execution when you think about the movement, the aim, the weapon usage, it's all there. But when it all is combined, it's just like, so rarely can anyone in the world come close to touching it.
Makes you respect how well Rafa played in that final as well.
Yeah, it really does.
Even if Raisy didn't live up to his perfect standards, the fact that Rafa was able to manhandle what we just saw when even vengerurR struggled as much as he did, just shows you the level that he's playing at as well.
I agree. I agree 100% because we reach points where Raisy sometimes has such a one-sided game with clutch. He just pulls out the pummel for like a solid minute at the end. Like, he makes it look so effortlessly simple sometimes. But that is the hallmark of a world-class player, right? To make the difficult look simple is always impressive.
Exactly.
And I mean, I will be honest, I kind of expected vengerurR to put up a bit more of a fight because the pick made it through. I know that neither of these two players, like, you know, they're I mean, million years away from relegation, right? So they don't have to care much about that. But there's still victory to be had. Both players, as good friends as they are and compadres,
it was very close for like the first half of that game, and as soon as then Raisy was able to string a couple of clean kills back to back, it was almost game over for vengerurR. He couldn't stop the momentum of the clutch. He tried various different tactics, but Raisy was just too good.
It's just the way he rolls, and that's going to be the 1-1 situation now. So we're going into our final map, Vale of Nath. Again, more of a traditional pick here. So we get to see the Galena versus the BJ. So it's going to be damage, totems, all the good stuff that we've seen a lot today. And on Vale of Nath, it's especially prominent because it's just so combat heavy. The totems deny the teleporters, which are crucial on a map like this. And then you just have BJ, which it's action, right? It's damage, it's fight, it's shutting down a heavy or a mega or whatever it is you're trying to take. And a matchup that I think is still, up until right now, hard to call, honestly. I think a 2-1 was fair to expect. I certainly wouldn't predict a 3-0, not with these two players.
No.
But who it's going to go to, I have no idea. They're just so similar to each other in like a tournament level.
Well, I mean, the way in which the first map went, I would have to give it to vengerurR. I feel that the clutch pick is always going to be a discrepancy, and you can't base any judgment on that.
Yeah,
this is a much more standard matchup. If you're going to base it on performance so far, I would say vengerurR.
Speaking of vengerurR, I'm going to check out vengerur's POV first. And he's already done the Galena things. The totem gets dropped down near teleporter just to create that instant shutdown, and he's gone straight back to just listening for information. And he's looking to maybe spring a trap. He knows he has got a... If he needed to retreat, there was a totem near teleporter, so there was that kind of safety net in essence. And some immediate rails. Raisy playing this very respectable, but that tri-bolt certainly didn't tickle. But vengerurR maintaining high ground. And I'm loving Raisy's rail usage in this regard because he knows that vengerur's establishing the top control. But, oh dear. He pushes. He pushes hard. Maybe too hard, we'll see. No, we get some good rockets. Both players weak. The danger and the reason vengerurR had to respect that so much, though, is that he does not have a rail, so...
Yeah, that was an interesting use in the totem to throw it aggressively rather than use it to restack. Didn't pay off in the end.
Nice rail. Ooh! Wow. That was an instant speed boost vengerurR might not have been ready for, but it didn't matter. Get the mega all the same. I feel like there's a ton of respect being shown here too. No sign of overcommitting yet in any way. It's just all about looking for those range shots first. And Raisy has actually hit his fair share of rails so far.
Yeah. At the same time, vengerur's returning. Kaino's done a great job of maneuvering around the map to regain his stack. Oh!
Oh, yeah. Took the words right out of my mouth. That was a good one.
Nasty.
On the perfect read.
I was going to say, that was a great read.
Will it pay off, though? Or is it actually going to get him killed?
Somehow vengerurR still survives.
I think this is honestly the respect element of it, where there's just no ounce of just committing too hard yet, but the rockets come out. And Raisy, I mean, he gets it, and the mega is up. But yeah, that one was a bit too close to, for comfort, potentially. Oh, these rails. Raisy's been hitting some fantastic rails on this map. It's been really keeping vengerurR on his toes. Nice little rocket. Waste a little bit of time too. Raisy not interested in pushing too far forward. Always a risk going through a teleporter against the Galena, because you never know what kind of damage is on the other side. That, however, was definitely Raisy calculating the risk and realizing he can afford to take the damage anyway because Mega's up. And now if he needs to disengage, he can. vengerurR is behind. Likely that Raisy knows where he's going to retreat to, which is exactly where he knows he's going to be. And he has a massive stack to work with at the same time. So this has been a really good map for Raisy so far.
He's playing it very calculated in itself, not overcommitting whatsoever, and had a number of really good reads.
Yeah, right.
Damage there though.
Cannot stick around for too long after that one. He's on the run. He's already long gone. Aggressive plays from vengerurR, looking for the combo, and that was just calculated. He knew he just had to sit there and finish the job. No execution required, really, once you've got that angle set up. Perfect position from vengerurR.
There's also a decent split on the items, so vengerurR can control both. He doesn't take too much damage. That rail doesn't help, meaning Raisy should be able to get up onto position.
Even with this mega in hand, the danger is that there is no armor. However, some wonderful damage. Good rail. Very good fight there from both sides. The fact that Raisy even made it that close was impressive.
My life sustains you.
We really are getting two crazy evenly matched players here. The fact that it's 2-2, it's impossible to call right now.
Neither one backs down from the confrontation either. So that's why it's always so close.
It's so similar to Corrupted Keep in the respect that neither player wants the other one to really get away with taking anything. And it's this consistent game of just cat and mouse. Oh, Raisy gets caught.
Misread completely where vengerurR would be just then.
5-minute warning.
I think that's the first time I've seen him misread where where he is the first time this whole series. It's very rare to catch them making a mistake like that. 5-minute warning, and once more, too close for comfort. Raisy has more stack, but I'm also eyeing up the fact that dual wield is ready to rock, although we haven't really seen it used in a fair while. However, it's being used now, but not without taking a ton of damage to get it out there. And Raisy, anyone that watches his stream knows he loves that teleport game here on Veil of Nath.
Very similar to Corrupted Keep, where Raisy has full control, but Venger's making sure he has a clear presence on the map throughout.
Worried about his ammo count, though. 3 rockets left might be a little bit tricky.
Not a lot of lightning gun either. He's stealing away the health.
Surely he must have cycling towards rocket in his plan, because he's now out.
Interesting. I wonder why he's done that.
Maybe to actually make it a uncontested rocket spawn, perhaps. Fake the rocket jump, get Raisy to go elsewhere, and then you can get more rocket ammo later. And Ney is in turn actually in a better position for the... Well, he was for the Mega. Not that it was his objective, obviously, as Raisy's going to snap that one up.
It's just a strategy you would usually use when you're in control, and Venger's definitely not in control. Yes, he has the totems as a form of health, but they're not as reliable. I mean, it hasn't really counted either way just yet. It's just, again, pure confidence in his ability to deal more damage, if anything. Still doing it.
Yeah, with this being a Maestro showdown as well, and oh my god, 3 totems all in one location, but he gets caught in a bad spot by Raisy with nowhere to hide, puts a lot of his confidence in the rail that doesn't hit its mark. But Raisy, hang on, he doesn't actually check those totems. They are still up. And now he's refraggable. If he can secure a frag here, and he still has, in fact, and the rocket play from Raisy. If Venger needs to retreat and restack, he can. But this is actually a great situation for Venger, because the totems, they've only just been taken out. Depending on the spawn that Raisy got, it was Mega first, and then if those totems stayed, that would have been a ridiculous retreat. 2 Megas, essentially.
Yeah, lucky that he did see them off the spawn there.
I will not grant you that privilege.
Now, this has allowed Raisy to shift the balance a little bit. I know this is Veil. This is a small map, and it's very combat heavy, so it's unlikely he can simply run away for 2 minutes and 10 seconds, but he's he's the one that's in charge. He's got himself some stack now. He lacks a rocket launcher, though, actually. That's one really important thing to note about this fight. Raisy can't really fight unless he gets one of those. He's trying to play that long-range game because it really is all he has access to, and Raisy, I've said it before, he loves that teleporter play near heavy. Finally, we see a rocket launcher in hand. Uh-oh, dual wield.
What rockets?
War of sustain right there. Venger said to have the best rockets in the business right now. Oh, the drop down! Hang on a minute. Oh! Get the frag. But he's weak. Venger is hilariously weak. Refrag is clean. And that was what he needed.
Then game on.
This very well could go down to the absolute final frag. Rockets are good for Raisy. Venger drops again. It was down to the single frag, and I fear it might be running away a little bit. Venger needs to get some miracle rockets and get it before he gets the Mega, perhaps, because now he's really healthy. That missed rail is going to be potentially an opener. But, whoo, 2 rockets that narrowly missed their marks in SX. Ridiculous. But Venger's in trouble. Venger is in trouble.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah, because it's time wasted. And it's Venger lacking the tools. I'm worried. Oh my, especially after rockets like that, I'm so worried. He can't get the frag, that's it.
Out of the server.
With an iron boot in the backside. Even if Venger gets him now, he has no time, Raisy. Doing Raisy things, apparently. This was a crazy good series. Had a really good time watching this one, but ultimately it's going to go down to Raisy at the last possible minute when he ran away with it. But GG's all round. I think both players can be happy about that. You know,
Yeah.
Wenger, he wants to win. You know, he's going to be disappointed he didn't win, but that was very fun to watch.
I'm most happy about the fact that it's kept our predictions intact for today. I think we've got every series right so far.
I'm just looking at these end game stats. They're so similar. They had less than 100 damage in between each other in that game.
Nothing to separate it to. Like, that was again.
Really.
Wenger played a magnificent on the defense once again, and Wenger this time, Raisy was able to maintain his composure and find a way out. The rail was key for Raisy, I think. That's what obviously was not available and corrupted, but it unlocks so many doors when you hit early rails to initiations, and that's what Raisy did exceptionally well.
I'm in a good mood after that, to be honest.
Good.
I think it's the kind of matchup where you know what you're going to get, but you're still happy with the result.
Sure.
And hope you guys didn't hear that. That was my phone running out of battery. That was, yeah, that's the noise of death. That's worse than when your ammo runs out. But yeah, fundamentally, it was just a great display of not only the two players, but just the talent that the Maestro roster has in Quake these days. I think Raisy and vengerurR are just two absolute continuing to be rising stars in the Quake world. And it's just, when they go head to head, you know you're in for a treat, right? And that's pretty much exactly what we got.
100%. I really enjoyed it, and we've got another good one coming up.
Phone vibrated. I hope you didn't hear that either. My phone just it turned off. Shut up, for God's sake. But yeah, so that was one of our final sets of the matches. We have got some more to go, and they continue to just get juicier and juicier, because that was vengerurR versus Raisy. But up next, it's Cooler versus Kilson. So you would look at that kind of matchup and think, how can you top that? Well, we very well might be minutes away from having that exact situation. So thanks for watching us so far. This is week number 9, stage 3, Quake Pro League. We're going to go for a short break, and we'll see you in a few minutes' time.